What is happening, everybody? We are going to have a little bit of a smaller baseball slate for tonight. Same with tomorrow. We've got, a 5-game main slate tonight, 4-game main slate tomorrow. But these are slates I like quite a bit. We had a small one earlier. I did really well. If it was not for Nick Lodolo scoring 1 billion fantasy points, I would have won some GPPs. But silly me, I played more of Dylan Cease than Nick Lodolo earlier today. But we're going to break down another one for you guys. Do us a big favor. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are sponsored by DraftKings here today. If you guys have not checked out the DraftKings Best Ball contest this year, not only are they massive, but they are constantly running all kinds of promos and giveaways to help you get more value out of your entry. So last week was Best Ball week. I think they've got another Best Ball week coming up a few weeks from now where it was promos every single day. And the standing promo that they have over there is if you draft a $20 Best Ball lineup, chance to win a share of $15 million. You can get another entry for free on top of your first $20 entry. So if you guys are going to be playing Best Ball, that's a really easy way to get yourself going right there. One entry, buy in for $20 and you get another one on top of it. So especially for some people who are, lower dollar players, they're just trying to find some of the best value. There's been a lot of value in the DraftKings Best Ball street. So go check those out. Eric, how are you doing today?
My day has gone different directions. Ended up coming down to San Diego last second because I got a knock on my door and it was a bunch of shit that was supposed to be down here at Comic-Con for my wife. But so I'm just trying to win Husband of the Year while I'm at it. But otherwise, feeling good about this slate, feeling good about the game so far today as well. Felt bad for you that Nick Lodolo went completely GOAT on the entire world. But it's the nice thing about this job is at least like last second something pops up. As long as you have your equipment, as long as you have internet, which is everywhere these days, you're ready to rock. So I am got my lineups reserved. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, let's get right into talking about the pitchers since we are a little bit short on time. If you guys haven't done it yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then also drop us a question. If you are a Stokastic sub, that is a definite resource you guys should be using, is accessing our Discord channel and asking questions to us or some of the other people in Discord over the course of the day. If you got questions on Slate, so be looking for that. But Eric, let's talk about one pitcher as a standalone, and that's going to be Jesus Luzardo because he is nearly 70% owned. He is by far the most popular pitcher tonight. He clearly makes a lot of sense for cash games. For GPPs, he's going to make sense as well. But relative to his ownership, do you want to be overweight to the field to him, underweight, or at the field? Nearly 70% owned.
Playing 40 lineup season every lineup. I don't see a reason not to play him in every lineup. I mean, the one thing is Masataka Yoshida, once he got back, basically was like, all right, that sucks because it's one just non-strikeout bat right in the middle of the lineup every day. But otherwise, like, how do you get away from playing a ton of Jesus Luzardo? If you're playing one lineup, you play Jesus Luzardo. If you're playing multiple lineups, I would be pretty hard-pressed to not play Jesus Luzardo in just about everything. Now, this is probably where Greg comes in on a 5-game slate and says, I'm playing Boston in single entry. So I'm ready for it. I know you are, you cheeky bastard. But
I was the only one who played the Giants as a 5-man stack in the 121 earlier, and it went really well. Like I said, I ended up like not that far out of first place, and the difference was the top end lineups had Nick Lodolo, and I didn't. But I mean, some of these small slates, and by the way, I haven't made a final determination of what I'm going to be playing in single entry. For large field GPPs, yeah, just play Nick Lodolo about as much as you possibly can. I still do think it makes sense to play some Red Sox stacks just because Luzardo is so popular. Luzardo is solid, but it's not like he's some lights out pitcher or who's like a DeGrom or a Screwball level ace or something like that. I don't think he's as good as Strider, and I already stacked against Strider. By the way, against not a great offense either. Not a terrible offense in the San Francisco Giants, but it's not like some Dodgers or Yankees level offense either. So, I mean, I think that you can make a case. Well, I can make a case. The Red Sox are probably more likely to be successful against Luzardo than the Giants were against Strider earlier today.
Agreed. That I agree with. I mean, the tipping of pitches for Jesus Luzardo, we've seen 10, 11 run outputs from him, but for me, this comes down to what else is there that I can click on the slate? And then once you get below, I mean, Max Fried has the worst matchup ever. Taj Bradley is throwing with rain everywhere in Tampa, even though I think it's going to play pretty clean. You never know. There's pop-ups that happen this time of year. You got Corbin, Bassett, Giolito, Sears. None of these are good things. None of these are good things. There's one pitcher that I am higher on amongst everybody that I just said that I think is underappreciated on this slate, but he's definitely got the potential to give up 8 or 9 bombs as well. So that'll be fun times to talk about. But he's Luzardo. He's your best pitching option, your first click and cash game, so on and so forth.
Yeah, by the way, we got a question here from Bruce Gant. Bruce wants to know, how does late swap work? So as far as the tool goes, you just download your CSV of lineups from DraftKings or FanDuel, wherever you're playing. You upload it to our late swap tool, and then it is just going to re-optimize your, well, not optimize, but resim your lineups against the field with updated information. So it's not as pertinent for baseball as it is for basketball. Like the situations we're going to be using it for baseball is for stuff like last night, there's a late scratch, and all of a sudden Alec Burleson is starting in the outfield for the Cardinals. But it's not like basketball where you constantly want to be doing late swaps because there isn't that much that changes post-lock. So the way it works, though, is just kind of what I said before. You just download your set of lineups from DraftKings or FanDuel. You upload it into the late swap tool, and then it is going to re-simulate the slate given the information known at the time. But you really only have to use it if something significant changes for baseball, which doesn't happen all that frequently. It happened last night, and it was huge. I know Eric was texting me even before I had taken notice of Alec Burleson being inserted into the lineup, and he was like, Burleson has to be one of the best plays of the year. He was like 4% owned in large field GPPs.
2 in the mini max, 2%.
Yeah, and he ended up putting up, a solid game of like 12 fantasy points, but there was so much upside from at Coors Field. Like, he should have been 25% owned last night.
Yep, he was the best bat play we've had on a main slate of like more than 5 games, I would say all season long, and that's not hyperbole. You don't get many guys who, like an Alec Burleson, who all of a sudden get subbed in for somebody randomly, and so it ended up happening after lock. But I guess just to, kind of cover the question from a different perspective, depending on how you're asking it, late swap is one of those things that no matter what DFS sport you're playing in, first off, know the rules, because like UFC, you can't do late swap. They tried it out for like 6 months. It's a stone cold disaster. But for everything else, when late swap, when there's news that happens after lock occurs, people have quit looking at their lineups. They've quit building their lineups. And there's leverage you can gain by taking advantage of information. So if you have notifications going to your phone, if you take account of something that changed, like a pitcher getting scratched, a batter getting scratched, like we saw with Legacy, who ends up having Burleson come in for him, you get lower owned pieces that should be higher owned. Their optimal percentages should be higher. And those are the best plays that you can possibly run into in the NFL. The most glaring example, Kyron Williams 2 years ago, where he ends up taking over the starting running back position. And he was the best play on an entire slate. And the last 8 minutes of that slate was just Matt Gajewski and I jamming Kyron Williams and talking about that. So always have notifications to your phone. There's tons of lineup providers, tons of places where you can get that information as soon as it drops for, whether it's from the specific teams or just from like the places that data source it, and make sure that you are reacting to news.
Yeah. Once again, there isn't that much breaking news that happens for baseball. I don't really know what the nature of his question is. I assume he was just asking how to use the tools, but don't know exactly for sure. But anyway, let's get back talking about some of the pitchers for today. And on the high end, what do you make of Max Fried? Because on one hand, there are just not very many quality starting pitchers today, but he also isn't a pitcher with much ceiling. The Sims don't like him at all. He is pulling 30% ownership. He's only showing up in 7% of my top 150 lineups. My preference, Eric, is to get away from Max Fried in large field tournaments, but there's also reality. If you've got a pitcher spot with 10,000 left, you're probably just clicking on him.
Yeah, you're probably just clicking on him, but that makes me think he's going to end up being higher owned potentially too. So I'm kind of with the Sims on this one. It's such a brutal spot, and Max Fried's been really good. I was surprised to see the Yankees were as big of favorites. Obviously, I haven't updated my stuff on the betting side of it. I'm finishing that up here in the background while I'm doing this, because I was obviously on the road for the last 2 hours. But I am very curious to see Max Fried's ownership. He's the one guy that if you told me it flipped, because like Luzardo doesn't change for me. If he's 50, 60, 80, like I'm still going to play a ton of Luzardo. But if you told me Max Fried was 20%, I would have interest. That's not really where he's going to be. And I think the number ends up being higher. So if he ends up around the 35% because people have unlimited salary to kind of play in there, which kind of is the case as you build lineups. We have a couple of hitters, Aaron Judge, obviously, Kyle Schwarber, obviously, but then J Ram's the only other batter above 5,400. So like, I think Max Fried ends up being somebody that people can easily click on. So especially in like a single entry format, zero chance I'd play Max Fried.
Yeah, for single entry, the only way that I would potentially play Max Fried is if I end up stacking Boston, because then I'm just going to have this excess salary because Boston is so insanely cheap. There's two different lineups that I'm contemplating right now. One of them is a Boston stack, and the other one is a Baltimore Orioles stack against the Cleveland Guardians. So
bleep, bleep. That's all, folks.
Yeah, so kind of in between those two spots right now. But in grand scheme of things, I really don't like Fried at this price point. Or like we have him project for 31% ownership. That's still, even if he just comes in at that mark, it's really high. So Luzardo, once again, overall top pitching option on the slate. He's going to be super popular, especially in small field stuff. Like we saw, earlier today, 85% owned was the ownership on Spencer Strider and some small field GPPs. We could see the exact same on Luzardo for tonight. Who else do you like then? If you had to pick one pitcher to pair with Luzardo in a cash game, who would it be?
In a cash game? Okay, so that's different. Mm-hmm. I was just going to fire up my tournament guy. I'd say Taj Bradley has to be it against the White Sox. I know it didn't go well for Shane Baz the other day, but I don't really care. It's still the White Sox. It's still a pretty appealing spot to be able to get some exposure. I'm not jamming him by any means, but he is my third highest owned pitcher in my 40 lineups. And I feel pretty confident that if I needed to play cash today, $7K for him as opposed to $9,800 for Max Fried with the same K. Taj Bradley has a better K prop than Max Fried does today. Like, what are we doing here? It's pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, same for me. It's Luzardo and Taj Bradley. That is the cash game combination to go with. And then I'm curious now to know, who do you like for GPPs? Because presumably it isn't anybody we've talked about so far, because we mostly only talked about popular pitchers, and everybody else outside of the guys we've talked about are pretty contrarian, because nearly 70% ownership going to Luzardo, about 30% to Fried, about 30% to Taj Bradley. So you do the math there, that's 130-ish% of the pitcher pool, which means for all the rest of the pitchers on the slate, there's only 70% ownership to be divided amongst them. So who is the contrarian guy you're liking?
I like Lucas Giolito today. I think he's really intriguing. Like, Chris Bassett is pulling the ownership right now. Like, maybe it ends up switching. I mean, I'm refreshing this at the moment, and I've been going back and forth in single entry on if I want to play Chris Bassett, 7,800, or if I want to play Lucas Giolito. And it feels as though Chris Bassett's going to get steamed up a little bit. We've had some weird pitcher exposure. I mean, Mizorowski ended up being 15% yesterday. So there's definitely a lot of fluctuation that can exist when you're projecting out, especially in these small slates where people are going to go. I think the Yankees, just because we know what that strikeout upside can be, and Philly, for the most part, against righties, they've avoided strikeouts this season. They've been right around the 20-21% mark every single time you look at it against righties. Just to double check here on the season, 20.2%, 104 WRC plus. But I think Lucas Giolito has more upside. Like, if I'm trying to win a tournament today and all the other things being equal, I think Lucas Giolito is one of those guys who can outperform a lot of his measurements. I mean, 5.5K prop, it's juiced towards the under. 4.5 is juiced heavily towards the over here right now. That's the second best that we have on this entire slate next to Jesus Luzardo. And then it's Chris Bassett that's kind of like hand in hand, I suppose. That would be kind of like the 2A, but 2B right there is Lucas Giolito. And there's a part of me that thinks that you end up getting Bassett steamed up a little bit because the Yankees are a pretty noticeable strikeout matchup.
Yeah, so I really don't love any of these guys. It's hard to really look at them and gravitate towards them in any kind of strong way. I'm going to lean a little bit towards Chris Bassett, mostly just because I feel I obviously hate the matchup, but there are strikeouts to be had in the Yankees lineup. And then also, he's just been a quality starting pitcher for a while now. 3.89 ERA, 3.90 expected ERA, 3.67 FIP. The strikeout rate, 22%. It's not massively high. He's had a 22% strikeout rate now 4 years in a row. But when he's $7,800 and the pitching options kind of suck, it's a little bit different of a scenario. So if I'm going to be going contrarian, I'm going to look at Chris Bassett at 13%. I'm also going to lean into the fact that the Sims are pushing him way more than any of the other pitchers in this price range. I'll let that be another kind of tie break for me. But once again, I don't feel great about it. This is also where, like, I don't think Max Fried has a lot of upside, but like I could see people just getting to him, and why I'm considering, if I'm stacking the Red Sox, just playing Fried anyway, because yeah, maybe he doesn't have the upside to score 30 fantasy points, but if he puts up like 18, do most other pitchers just suck on the slate and then it doesn't matter?
Yeah, Davis Schneider's leading off today. That helps. Like, if you want to look for a little bit of comic relief for it, I mean, Davis Schneider is awful. 161 expected batting average, 29% K rate. So you're at least going to face him 3 times in a good Max Fried outing. Potential of 4 if he goes completely ballistic, but most likely 3. And Ernie Clement ends up getting sent to the 7 hole. That's a big difference, I suppose, if you're trying to like find an optimistic point of view. Like, Ernie Clement had been leading off against lefties for like the last month, and I didn't like it. I thought it made no sense. Bo Bichette ends up getting sent to cleanup, and I'm like, why are we doing this? We could just put Aston Barger up there. You could have George Springer lead off and move on with your life, but they decided to make Ernie Clement a thing. It's Davis Schneider today, and I think there's a chance where Max Fried potentially rings him up 1 or 2 times, and you're probably sitting okay there, but I'm just kind of looking for the optimistic point of view. The reason I'm not going to do the Max Fried thing is I think in single entry, it's really hard to build a lineup, especially if you're not stacking up the Yankees, that ends up using the full allotment of salary. Like, it's really, really, really hard to do. So I'm probably just going to be going to Bassett and, Giolito a little bit as my SP2, just purely because I think it gets away from it a little bit. Taj Bradley, I do have some White Sox interest when we talk about stacks, but I think in cash, he's your SP2. And then I don't mind the idea of Max Fried, but I think for single entry, that's a definite no-go for me.
See if there were any questions in Discord. We've got one from Hey, I'm Drew. He wants to know who the DK cash pitchers and stacks are. He said he sees that Bassett is popular. Bassett is not popular. Bassett is pulling 13% ownership. He came
down from 17 to around 13. And then we've had Giolito, who's kind of been sitting flat at 10 or 11 all day long. So it's come down and trimmed a little bit, but the pronounced chalk is Jesus Luzardo, and it should be. And then
it's Luzardo and Taj Bradley. Like, those are the chalk pitchers, and it's just kind of sensible. Those would be the guys. If you're ever struggling with who to roster as an SP2 in cash games, the tie break should just be go to our ownership page, sort by ownership. If there's somebody who's standing out a ton, like Taj Bradley being 33% owned, that's just your secondary option in cash games.
Agree.
Yeah, Bassett's actually one of the lowest owned pitchers on the slate at the moment. So
wild, actually. I mean, it's come down. It was sitting a little bit higher earlier this morning when I had looked, but this is one of those spots where, like, for me, I'm more than happy to get away from Max Fried, because think about it. You have so many other outs that aren't just Max Fried. Like, I get your thinking and your rationale for it, but like, if one of Giolito or Bassett end up having a decent outing at 1/3 or, close to 1/3 of the ownership, however it ends up shaking out, you also have the outs of, like, they're 1,802K cheaper. So like, there's lineup configurations that just kind of fit for those guys. That's the way I'm going to play it. I'm probably just going to take Max Fried out because I'm playing a limited number of lineups today. I'm a little bit more risk averse as well. So like, I really don't care. Or I'm not risk averse.
Yeah, for me, Fried is only for Red Sox stacks where you have the salary to spend. Because I was playing around building some lineups. If you stack the Red Sox, your options, if you aren't playing Max Fried, you just leave like $2,000-$3,000 in salary on the table.
That's nuts. What a time to be alive, everyone. What a time to be alive.
Einsteinium is asking us, what are our thoughts on Slade Ciccone? He is another pitcher showing up a little bit in the Sims here. So the starting pitcher is not expected to be, it is going to be Slade Ciccone. For whatever reason, I was thinking of him as a long reliever today, but nix that. So Slade Ciccone is pitching better now that he has been traded. Do you buy into this, Eric? Because I have a feeling that people are going to want to play Slade Ciccone just based on some recent results. And he's only made 11 starts this year. He's only pitched 63 innings. But once again, he's been much better with Cleveland than he was with Arizona last year. Do you buy into Slade Ciccone being a different pitcher now?
Kind of. Yes and no. I'm not going to say that I know everything, but I do know Stephen Vogt is one of the smartest catchers that you could possibly ever have as a manager. I mean, the guy is an incredible game caller. He was for years, like a couple decades, basically. Stephen Vogt's an awesome piece to have to help you build as a starting pitcher because they just relate to you very well, but the stuff doesn't look good. I don't really find him all that impressive. I'm kind of going through it now on FanGraphs, and I mean, people are actually going to want to play him. He's like a 0.4 WAR guy. He's had 11 starts, so it's not like there's no sample size on him. I think he's very similar to the same guy. He has a better xFIP. This has been the best like peripheral numbers, and then 3.84 ERA, but 4.71 expected ERA is basically in line with where he's been his entire career. So I'm going to say no.
Can I dunk on somebody real quick?
I love when you do.
All right. For sex, to answer the question that's on the screen right there. Ram33, thank you very much for the question. Eric is on the road supporting his, well, it's kind of funny because I meant it to be in terms of why is he in your grandma's living room, but I mean, he's also just being a supportive husband. He's just being a supportive husband, helping his wife out of Comic-Con. But Eric's on the road right now, still showing up, grinding, putting in the DFS work.
No days.
But anyway,
no
for me,
off.
for Slade Ciccone's not good. He has a 3.84 ERA this year compared to a 6.66 ERA last year. All of the peripheral numbers are nearly identical, though. Nearly identical peripheral numbers. Like, sure, he's got a marginally higher strikeout rate, but it's still 21%. So, cool. It's the first time he's ever had a strikeout rate higher than 19% in his career. I am much more inclined to stack against Slade Ciccone than roster him. I don't think he's a good pitcher. Projections aren't high on him in terms of his future outlook. His actual numbers this year are not all that impressive either. I really, really like stacking against him. I don't really want to be rostering him.
Nope. 0%. I have him in 2 lineups. So maybe not 0%. That's a lie. 8%.
I know the Sims like him a little bit. I like him less though. So for me, if I'm going to be contrarian a pitcher, I'm going to be going towards Chris Bassett over Slade Ciccone if I want to be more popular in that price range. I think Taj Bradley is a very reasonable option at $7K. Is there anything else that you are really gravitating towards on the slate as a potential contrarian option?
No, I mean, we could just talk about it's the Athletics anytime that you get them out of that stupid ballpark. Actually, I won't even call it stupid. I love it because Nick Kurtz, he exists and he is a god. But boy, oh boy, is it a disturbing rest of the group. Like, how much Patrick Corbin can you stomach? I can't stomach any. How much JP Sears can you stomach? I really don't stomach any here at the moment, unless you had something that you wanted to bring up to talk me into it. But yeah, ended up with 8% Slade Ciccone. Now that's down to 4%. I'm kind of trimming lineups and favoriting my favorite ones here, figuring it out. But yeah, it's one of those like, hey, Luzardo and then someone else, and just trying to figure out what the field's going to do and getting away from it.
Shout out to Clintwood83. He's a single entry player, but decided to play 6 lineups in the 50K to first last night. Used the Sims, kind of forced the Rangers, and finished in the top 10. Sims work, people. Thank you all. Yeah, shout out to our guy, Clintwood83. And if you guys do want to sign up for any of the packages here at Stokastic, link is down below in the YouTube description box to sign up for any of them. But yeah, shout out to Clintwood, who's also part of Eric's Discord package. So if you guys want to join Tails, head on over to Tails and check out all the different packages that guys have there. But Eric's package, very affordable, pays for itself with all the bets that he has in there. I contribute with some futures as well. What's that look for right there?
Eric's package. Every time you say Eric's package, it catches me by surprise, because especially with the grandmother thing that came out.
I don't know why you don't think about it the same way. I'm always thinking about your Tails package.
Oh, thinking about your Tails package.
Don't have one. Well, actually, ours are intertwined. So yeah. Anyway, Clintwood83, shout out to you for the success last night. And yeah, I've actually been on a really good run of MLB DFS lately. So I am hoping that we see more of the same going forward. Well, on the early slate today, hoping that I do the same tonight. And anything else you want to talk about for pitchers on the DraftKings end, Eric?
No. Kind of going through. I just finished favoriting, so I can kind of like I'm going to upload these and kind of figure out exactly what I ended up with. Yeah, I'm going to play Jesus Luzardo in 90% of lineups. So there you go. He's not going to be in 100. I want to make sure that people know if I do have a Giolito Bassett that jumps to the top, my apologies. So 90% of him, but he's so good.
Over on the FanDuel side of things, Luzardo, he's your chalk. He's your cash game pitcher, 53% ownership. Everybody else is pretty contrarian over on FanDuel. So with that in mind, I think that Taj Bradley and Max Fried become reasonable pivot options off of Luzardo. Max Fried does score better as a FanDuel pitcher than a DraftKings pitcher, where you're generally getting length out of Max Fried. You're generally getting a little bit of safety there as well. So at $9,600, he's actually cheaper than Luzardo on FanDuel. He's only 10% owned as opposed to 50%. I actually do think Fried is a better option on FanDuel than DraftKings, but all things considered, Taj Bradley at 12% ownership is my favorite FanDuel option.
Agreed. And then Max Fried is playable there, whereas on DK, I'm not saying he's unplayable. There's only freaking like 10 pitchers to choose from, or what is it, 8 pitchers basically that we're choosing from, 9 if you count JP Sears, which I kind of don't. But yeah, it is a very clear-cut slate on FanDuel. You're playing one of those 3, Luzardo, Bradley, Fried. Lucas Giolito, definitely more of a DK offering at 8,700 on FanDuel. No, thank you.
All right, let's talk about some stacks then. And Eric, my lineup is set. I was in between 2 teams that I wanted to play for single entry. One, the Boston Red Sox. The other was going to be the Baltimore Orioles against Slade Ciccone. I like both lineups a good amount. I'm ultimately leaning into the Boston Red Sox, though. In single entry, Luzardo, I think it's going to be the same deal as Strider earlier today. I think Luzardo is going to be like 70 to 85% owned. And that is just such massive ownership for the small field stuff. Like, you look at a slate like today, I was really profitable simply by the amount of leverage that I got off of a massively popular Spencer Strider. The best pitching option on the slate, it is still Luzardo. The ownership is just going to be too high in single entry. This has been my strategy for the last couple of years, and it's been supported in some of the post-contest sims, going back and looking at the sim ROIs. It's just an underutilized strategy where people are, for reasonable reasons, just playing who they think the best options are at pitcher. And it just creates these massive ownership funnels. And it's generally plus EV to just stack against usually non-elite starting pitchers, but even something like this morning where I was able to be successful stacking against Strider, Luzardo should not be the 80% owned that I think he is going to be in single entry. So I'm going to stack the Red Sox. If he ends up being like 40 to 50% owned, then I'm not going to feel as great about it. But if he's as owned as I think he's going to be, I feel kind of obligated with my MLB strategies to stack the Red Sox in single entry.
Totally understand what you're saying. I think it just comes down to like human emotion too. Like people, they want to win today. They don't want to win when the one time the major starter gets completely incinerated. They want to like give themselves a chance to win every single day. You're giving yourself a chance to win every single day. It's just not going to happen as frequently when you stack up a Boston Red Sox in a spot like this, as opposed to stacking another team. So it comes down to a little bit of like human, it's what we all do to some extent. So I like that, again, if you can sustain 8, 9, 10 losing slates on the single entry format, which I know for a fact you can, that's definitely a viable strategy. I'd probably be leaning more into going with the Toronto Blue Jays. Like if I'm looking for my leverage on this slate, Max Fried's probably going to get clicked in a little bit more than he should. I'm already taking a pretty aggressive approach against. I'm not playing single entry today. Normally I do, but I ended up unreserving a bunch of those. And I would play Toronto, but I think I'm just going to get to Toronto a little bit in large field. Nothing crazy, but Toronto would be my preferred single entry team.
All right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some similarities between the Red Sox stack and then also going to the Blue Jays. For me, though, I do think Max Fried is better than Luzardo, and then Luzardo is also more popular. So this is what I'm rolling out. Also, obviously, a favorable hitter's park for Boston playing in Philadelphia. Is it going to win? In all likelihood, no. But the times it does win, it's just the times it does play out well, it's such an easier path to first, or at least to a top finish in some of those small field stuff. So that's the way I'm going to be playing single entry. For large field GPPs, my favorite stack, it is the Baltimore Orioles going up against Slade Ciccone for all the reasons that I had laid out before. I think the Baltimore Orioles are going a little bit overlooked for a couple of reasons. First off, they have been very underwhelming this year, but also Slade Ciccone is overperformed. So you're seeing people asking us about Slade Ciccone. There's a couple questions in Discord about it, but he's just facing regression. You look at his numbers this year compared to last year, the only difference is the ERA. Everything else is the same. Like, he's just had some better luck metrics on his side. Strand rate is 82% as opposed to 62%. BABIP is 280 as opposed to 320. He's probably going to have an ERA in the mid to high fours, if not even the low fives for the rest of the season. Baltimore Orioles are relatively cheap for today. That is the team that I have the most interest in for large field GPPs, followed by the Athletics. I was about to say the Oakland Athletics, so I had to stop for a second. Just the Athletics of Sacramento. I don't know. Those are the two teams that I have the most interest in for large field GPPs tonight, Eric.
Yeah, Cleveland, that's going to be a big part of my portfolio, showing up in the Sims quite a bit. Tampa Bay is running away with it, though. Tampa Bay and large field going to be my highest owned team.
Sniffs just said, would you fade Luzardo in single entry at that ownership? I mean, not only I'm stacking against him. I'm not only not playing him, I'm playing the opposite side of him. Yes, for me, that is a yes. So yep. We'll see how it goes.
Hold on to your butts.
People in chat asking if Judge is a must play in cash. It's funny. It's very rare that a hitter is considered a must play in cash, but Judge is nearly 30% owned on a slate of this size. Yes, you should play Judge in cash games.
You were doing it wrong if you don't. He's probably your first batter in, if we're being honest.
Yeah. So Judge
and Rice is probably up there as well. First base catcher, you're just playing him.
Yeah, Yankees are really popular. If you look at some of our ownerships, we have two popular offenses for the main slate. The Rays are 16% owned. The Yankees are 15% owned. To some extent, the Phillies are popular because they're 14% owned, but then every other team is pretty low owned. And then the super low owned teams on the slate are the White Sox, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays. So as far as the Yankees go, this is also, by the way, another reason that Chris Bassett kind of makes sense for large field GPPs. You are getting leverage against a very popular Yankees team.
Yeah, I mean, I just built it out. You're playing Judge, Jazz, and Ben Rice in cash. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're doing it incorrectly if you don't click on those three specifically first. And if you just go down by our ownership too, I mean, you look at Andujar, 2,700. You look at Sosa, I guess, batting eighth if you absolutely need the salary savings, but I don't think you do. J-Ram or Westberg is probably the only thing, but I'd find a way to play J-Ram. It's not that cost prohibitive. Those are your four batters I'll give you. Rice, Jazz, J-Ram, Judge. You're just playing all four of those in cash.
And by the way, the ownership on FanDuel for offense is very similar to over on DraftKings. FanDuel ownership, Tampa Bay 17% owned, Yankees 16% owned, Phillies 13.5% owned. So I don't really view the two sites as being all that much different between FanDuel and DraftKings, and same deal as well. If you want to stack Boston over on FanDuel, you're getting leverage off of a north of 50% owned Jesus Luzardo. Are there any other stacks you are prioritizing for tonight?
No, not really prioritizing. I've got smatterings. Talked about the White Sox, said I would bring them up. Taj Bradley could potentially end up being the second most popular pitcher, him and Fried. And so the White Sox are in a AAA ballpark as well. It's just that I kind of like the stuff of Taj Bradley a little bit more. That kind of goes without saying to some extent, but Max Fried's just a really, really, really good pitcher. And the strikeout upside against Toronto is just not there as much, but maybe he does just completely rim Davis Schneider today, because that wouldn't surprise me.
All right. Anything else you want to add about stacks? If not, we'll do our home run picks and wrap it up.
I think I got my home run pick. I think I'm going to bet it too. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, betting. So this is good for DFS and for betting purposes. Yep. You have piqued my interest, Eric. Who is your dong of the day?
All right. So it's the one team I didn't talk about, but if you've heard me on these shows, I'm absolutely obsessed with this kid because I think he might be the second coming of, pretty much everything. I'm going to the Oakland Athletics, and Patrick Corbin must pay for his sins, the sins of his people, the sins of his family, if you will. And there's a lefty that is pulling no ownership in Nick Kurtz. And I don't think it matters, lefties, righties, doesn't really matter. I think he's going to have crazy power. 161 expected ISO next to a 237 actual ISO, 20-degree launch, has 4 homers against them already in a pretty limited sample size. Patrick Corbin's the kind of lefty that Nick Kurtz should be able to just annihilate here and still get some leverage. And I'm seeing like nearly the plus 400 number. I'm a little surprised because I thought Nick Kurtz, he's got like the best bat speed of anybody not named Stanton and Judge in baseball. This kid is unbelievable. Give me Nick Kurtz.
Brent Rooker for me against Patrick Corbin. I think the A's look, like I said before, they're one of my 2 favorite large field tournament stacks. I think the A's look really good. I think the Orioles look really good. Patrick Corbin is somebody who I've been expecting to regress. So far hasn't really happened to a large extent this year. He's had some not so great starts, but in general, he's been okay this year. But I do think that going forward, I still expect that Patrick Corbin is going to be a not very effective starting pitcher, and that is an A's lineup with a lot of power. I'm going with Brent Rooker to homer for today. Let's see what we have from the YouTube chat. Stephen Leibowitz is going with Corey Seager. Alex Diaz going with Brent Rooker. Ken Ratty going with Langoliers. Flim Flam Man has Luis Robert. Green Checkmark is going with Cody Bellinger. Comer 310 has got Ben Rice. Sotax is Bryce Harper. Mike Campbell is Aaron Judge. We've got EMAC going with Corey Seager. We've got J-Ram from Pierre. Malukar is going with Ben Rice. Duckman is going Seager, and Seager. I don't know if that means he's really confident or if he's picking Seager to hit 3 home runs. I don't know. NY Steagle's got Rooker and Kurtz. All right. He's got, I don't know if he put that in before or after our picks, but he's got both of them. Go Fies has got Jose Ramirez. G Joyner's got Josh Young. We've got Jose Ramirez from PSSA 31. Ken Rowdy says Eric picked Kurtz every day. He probably has picked Kurtz more than any other player this year. I think I've picked Vlad.
He homers almost every single day recently. Just throwing it out there. Sorry.
Yeah. Otani, that would be another home run pick that just wins every day. Aaron Hines has got Dan Schneeman. We've got B Funk going with Manzardo. We've got Sir Dodger with Ryan O'Hearn. Charles Moran is going with Gunnar Henderson. We've got Tizzle Main going with Rooker and Kurtz as well. Brian Weddle's got Kurtz. Jeff has got Josh Lowe. We've got Kowser from Nice Kevin. Junior Caminero from Gems Elwood. Rooker as well from Tizzle Main. Oh, I think I already read that one. Duckman, he's adding Seager again for a 4th time. Wild Ace has got Vladdy. And then we've got Devin Klein going with Nolan Jones. And then finally, Jay Miz has got Seager. So, guys, one more time, if you haven't do it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, sign up for any of the Stokastic packages down below. And then also, don't forget about DraftKings. It's best ball season, and DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million best ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another best ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second chance to win big. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 best ball lineup to play for a share of $15 million and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's 2 chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions do apply and void where prohibited. 1 per customer. Enter the Best Ball $15 million headliner contest by September 4th, 2025 to get 1 bonus entry. $20 entry fee required. Reward expires in 30 days. See terms at DraftKings.com/NFL-best-ball, sponsored by DraftKings. And there we have it, guys. If you have any other further questions for us, or if you want some best ball advice, by the way, you know who has a best ball package over on Tails, Eric?
Who has a best ball package over on Tails, Greg?
Spags does. So Spags is also doing best ball streams on the channel. So if you guys want to watch Spags do best ball content, Thursday and Tuesday afternoons, he's live on the channel. You could also get his projections and rankings from him as well. So go check out all the stuff that Spag is doing. He's going to have a video up tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time. He's going to be doing a live best ball draft. So go check that out. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Good luck. And Eric and I will be back here tomorrow to break down another small slate. See ya.